Hi there, folks. Today we're working indoors. Very high winds today and freezing weather. It was snowing earlier in the day. So those are our seed starting trays, and this is our humble collection of about 50 varieties of tomatoes. And I want to show you how we proceed with starting those seeds. We use two types of trays. This one is 6 centimeter cube, more or less, 6 by 6 by 6 depth, and it has 24 cells to it. And this one is 3 by 3, and it has a lot more cells, and it can host only smaller seedlings. But this is perfectly fine for stuff like radishes or beetroot. I have some beetroot seeds here prepared, and we'll be planting those as well in the tray. And at second or third leaf, each of those little cells is taken out and planted out in the garden, and this usually takes about a month, so we'll be ready for late April to plant the stuff out. For tomatoes, we do the multisowing method you're probably familiar with. And if you're not, you'll see us do it right now. It takes seeding multiple seeds, maybe a dozen seeds of each variety in a separate single tray cell. And then when the tomatoes are at the second true leaf, you take out the whole cell, divide the single plants, and up-pot by 2 in larger individual pots, and later in the season each of those pots is planted without disturbing the roots. So when the plants are very young, they have a very tiny, usually single unbranching root, so there's no damage to the root system. And when they're older and you're ready to plant them in the garden, you don't disturb the roots, you just take the whole pot with the complete root ball and plant that, and I'll show you more about that in the coming months. So now what we'll start doing is reviewing all the varieties we have. We have a separate bag for cherry varieties, and selecting 24 varieties to put in this seeding tray. So usually we choose 10 to 12 cherry varieties and the same amount of salad tomatoes. And the passata or canning tomatoes, we do direct seeding outside in the cold frame, the seed starting bed, which I'll show you again in another episode.
And this is a time lapse of the process in which we select which of the varieties will be growing this year. It usually involves reading through all of the 50 plus varieties and deciding on only 24. And this is a nice creative constraint, otherwise it's very easy to get carried away and we'll probably want to grow all of the 50 varieties. We strive for a colorful mix of red, pink, green, golden, yellow and black tomatoes, mainly because we like our salads colorful. And for the cherries as well, we take into consideration what the kids prefer to eat and also what would make a colorful mix of cherry tomatoes. And I'll be posting a precise list of all the selected varieties in a future video. And now that we have selected and listed all the varieties we want to grow, we start multi-sowing each of the cells of the seedling tray. You can see each of us dropping a number of seeds, usually about 20 of each variety in each of the cells. And those are put in the order specified in the list in the notebook. After all of the cells of the seed tray are filled with seeds, we start putting compost on top of them, and that compost is pressed down firmly to ensure full contact of the seeds with the soil. Afterwards, the whole tray will be bottom watered. You can see the white plastic watering tray underneath where I put about 2 liters of water, and it gets fully absorbed upwards by the capillary action of the soil. This makes sure that no nutrients are washed away and the seeds are evenly watered. After we're done with the tomatoes, we seeded a whole tray of beetroot seed. So each of those tiny seedling cells gets 2 seeds of beetroot. So if one does not germinate, we get at least one plant per cell. And if both of them germinate, it's not a problem because you can easily grow beetroots in close proximity, especially if you're harvesting one of those earlier for baby-sized beetroot in summer. We top it up with compost again, bottom water it, and it's ready to start growing. In the end of this video, I'm putting some photos from last year so you know what we expect to see in the coming weeks. The freshly seeded trays will be kept indoors now, where the temperature is about 18 to 20 degrees, and when they start poking through the soil, so they start germinating upwards, they'll be taken outside and kept in the cold frame. If the night is forecasted to be close to 0 degrees, we bring them inside. When the seedlings reach the stage in which the second leaf is forming, we start potting them. You can see how I have taken a single cell here with all of the tiny tomato seedlings. So we select only the strongest and pot those up in larger pots, maybe 7 centimeters cubed or 9 if we have enough of those. And the rest of the smaller siblings, they get returned back into their original cell and some new compost put in the cell, and they wait their turn for second pickings. The potting process is very quick and simple. It allows us to select the strongest individuals and also allows us some backup plans if something happens with the original potted up seedlings. A nice aspect of it is that it puts the whole plant underground, only the leaves remain sticking above the soil, so all of the current stem will grow roots in the new pot, and you get a much stronger root system in the time before they get planted out into the garden. So that was all for today's episode, and here is to another great gardening season.